Hi, glad to be going live here on my YouTube channel. And the reason why I'm here talking about Monica Grant, I shared a picture of her on my Facebook a while ago, and I'm pretty sure I posted her story on YouTube. Um, Miss Grant is a black activist in Boston. I don't know if she is currently still active, but Boston, Massachusetts went after her, and they went after her in a very hard way. She's lost her husband. Um, I've heard that she had to send her son out of state in fear of his life. And for those of you all don't know, I posted her story again. Boston, Massachusetts took her to federal court twice on bogus charges to try to get a conviction of her because she was speaking out on black racism. Um, this young woman was also, I don't know if y'all knew, but um, there was a march that was supposed to take effect in Boston on the Commons regarding white supremacy. And the turnout that showed up was nil just about, and they had to rush those people to safety because they were under attack by Bostonians and visitors, well, people that were living in Boston, are living in Boston. They did not want that kind of rallying to go on in the state of Massachusetts. However, um, I'm finding out, just like her, how racist Massachusetts is. And the heroic thing that she did with that activist money is she used some of it to get those um, white supremacists to safety. She paid for them to be. I think they supplied some buses for them to get them to safety. But so she was. This is why I'm telling you all, we do not have an active NAACP in Boston, no lawyers for us to go to. But somehow she had an NAACP lawyer. And if you read her story, they worked with the FBI, and I think it was the Boston State Police, to whatever she was presenting to her lawyers as a defense, because they brought her up on charges for misusing funds. They claimed that she was using the money to get her hair done, her nails done, and that her and her husband was using the money to take vacations. Now, they threw it out of federal court the first time, and Boston wasn't satisfied, so they retook her to court a second time on the same charges, and again it got thrown out. This is an attack on her, and this is how they attack you to make you keep your mouth shut. Her husband was in a motor vehicle incident. He was supposed to have been struck. How do they say? Assumably, okay. There's a talk in the black community and there's a talk in the media. Okay, she was struck by a state trooper. I'm not sure if it was a marked vehicle or an unmarked vehicle, identifying him as a state trooper. However, it came out that he's the state trooper, and he hit him. And the autopsy that she shared with the community the rumor or the hearsay going around is that the autopsy said it was murder. Yes, that's right. They said it was murder because the injury he sustained wasn't no simple hit. And I think in your story, I reposted it again, you will hear how she got a son out of Massachusetts in fear for his life as well. Then you heard maybe, I think it was around September, I'm not sure the correct date. I also shared a story about this young black um, police cadet that was applying for the state police, was found dead from an exercise. They said it was an exercise, where they had the little boxing on the mat. But however, if I could find that, I'll repost it too. He was murdered. They said it was an unlucky hit. However, he had broken limbs, very badly bruises, and they, like Emmett Till, didn't want the family to view their own son's body. So I basically am a prisoner in my home too, because I've also shared. Now, if I call the governor's office, Mr. Thomas, I don't know if he's still there or not, but this was the gentleman that reached out to me when Governor Baker was still in office about the newspaper article concerning my mother and the progress she made is struggling from the South to come here and start a business and then get her kids off of welfare. Praise to mom. She was, God bless the child, you know. He told me the building was still under the name of Peabody Properties, said that he was concerned for my safety and that I needed to get away from the District E13 Boston Police Department because he was in fear of my life as well. Now, there's nothing to stop me from going out the door and police pull me over by sharing this to you and abduct me. They did this to me in my home. Management under the community builders said they played around my building for hours trying to get into my apartment by intercepting me trying to communicate with my doctor for a prescription that she could call in for sleeping pills because I was having trouble resting. So a company called Best interfered in my Boston Medical call and sent the ambulance for my vital signs. But I was down in the office at the time. I shared this story. And I didn't have shoes on because I was upset because 2 policemen were at my door. I don't usually jump up and cuss at people, but I was so upset. I'm like, after them doing to me what they've done in the kidnapping of me in my own apartment, I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? And I went downstairs without putting my shoes on, and I went into the office with the management and the owners of this building. All through that lobby, there were policemen down there, and there was the ambulance, and they kept saying, why don't you come on out so we can check your vital signs? And I'm saying, well, can't you bring the equipment in here? And they was like, no, just come on out here. We want to make sure, okay. I said, why? This went on for a while. I said, why are you insistent on me going to the truck? They said, so we could take you to the hospital. And I said, I don't need to go to the hospital. I call my doctor's office and let her know if I'm having any trouble because they're trying to figure out a level of antidepressants suffering from the PTSD, and that Peabody Properties calls me. I got a medical listing Peabody Properties as my harassers, and my doctor's comment in the doctor's letters I had to provide for Boston Housing Authority, and the police reports against I had to file for them because they were violating my leasing agreement, and they were hindering me from following a case against them, which I've shared, and they also were filing false police reports. Okay. Now, in my medical records, it stated that I could not get better living in this building. Boston Housing Authority also condemned this building unsafe for me mentally and physically. Now, these are strong witnesses I've had, and I also had Greater Boston Legal Services, and that I had my doctors. So how could they not prove in racial discrimination with the office audio, my doctors, the Boston, Greater Boston Legal Service, and Boston Housing Authority? Why did this not go forward? That's like in Monica Grant. So when I say a prisoner of, I can live in fear that I could be abducted again. And anybody onlooker would be saying, "Oh, she's getting arrested," but I could disappear. Boston, there was a series that was on not too long ago about the corruption during Whitey Bulger, how the FBI and the Boston police were at odds with each other, and shows a lot of corruption, and it shows a lot of hatred, and it shows that this incident that happened that recently our mayor talked about this year, um, going over what happened after this white man murdered his pregnant wife sitting in his BMW and blamed it on a black man, and how they raided the black, I think it was Mission Hill projects, and they just bursted into everybody's apartment. They were running out wielding guns. They terrorized the kids and the families looking for a black man that didn't exist. Excuse me. Um, I'm sometimes at a loss for words. I mean, I'm still trying to grasp the anxiety that this has caused me, and it how do you live every month for over a year, paying your rent every month on time, and you get notices to quit every month with threats of going to court either every 30 days or every 15 days? I could not share this with my son. He stayed in ROTC for 3 years. And I told him, because he wanted to quit after the first year, I said, "Well, you quit, you ain't going to get another Christmas gift from me." But he stayed with it. And because he stayed with it, this kid was in school more than he came home. He was an all-star at his high school. And he graduated first sergeant. Matter of fact, I have in my room a poster, because every year I was on their recruiting poster. I had no idea I was the only parent showing up on award day where they would give out the achievement and medals with the junior ROTC. And in his 11th grade, he got the Purple Heart. Only one kid a year in high school couldn't get that, and my son got it. He had over 7 rows of ribbons on his uniform, and anywhere from 10 to 20 medals. Just, I mean, you couldn't fit fit no more in this. That this is a kid that was leaving out sometimes on the weekends. Never had police come to my house. Never had no disturbances. But Peabody Properties decided that they didn't want my kind living in this building, and that they're going to rezone this area to be another extension of Copley Square. Copley Square is where the marathon bombing took place. And that rent down there, mine is almost, I think it's gone up to like $3,000 a month now for a 2-bedroom. But I imagine if you live in the Copley area, that rent is outrageous. So these contractors are going around bidding on who's going to build what and in what area, because they're trying to get these housing situations where I'm at now to a income that's unaffordable for the state to pay for. So then they're going to relocate you. Peabody Property was one way of pushing you out and making these units that they're contracted with to continue to build up these buildings, using low-income people as the means to get these permission to build from the governor and the mayor. Okay, this is why they're keeping the lid on my racial discrimination, and they're attacking families here in Boston, running women and children out into the street for fear of being evicted, because if you're evicted, you can't get housing subsidy. Somehow, what I went through and that agony and pain conditioned me to get so angry that I started fighting back. And my ways of fighting back was, I thought, going to the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination, MCAD. Twice I went after this company. They found no finding. Even with the racial audio that Detective Becker asked for. You hear about me, that's the cop that invented his own charge. Never spoke to me as the victim. Never spoke to me, my witness, that witnessed the assault and the incidents that happened. Yet he filed against Peabody Properties assault with a deadly weapon, somehow changed now to a dangerous weapon, my door. Now, if that's the case, why wasn't it attempted murder? This I like to use common sense. Think about it. I don't want to stray too far from Monica, because what also grasped me was the sharing of our stories and knowing what this government, mayor, governor, police department, now even Eternal Affairs in my situation, because they sent me a letter clearing this detective saying he did an awesome job. I thought when you file a police report, and it took me a year to file it. That's why I don't want to go into too much of my story, but if y'all don't have the time to listen to it, I'd like to just add on and build on. But for the NAACP to go after and against Black people in the state of Massachusetts, this is why I tried to reach out, and this is why I had animosity against watching the NAACP on TV, and I called this man an ambulance chaser. I said, when can I get someone to come in and represent these two classes of mine, the constitutional and civil, and there's no active officers here in Boston. That's why I tried to reach out to the director, the one that just got the awards for outstanding service for the Black community. And the guy, can't think of his name offhand. His name is not that important to me because his face is familiar to me. And I referred to him as an ambulance chaser. I referred to him as the only lawyer I see on TV representing families where murder has taken effect and the families going through this trying to fight for justice. Why always him? Don't NAACP have other lawyers? This man's pocket, if you're an attorney and you handle lawsuits like this, is earning a lot of money for NAACP. And they ain't doing shit for Massachusetts. I don't know how it is in your state. But these are the obstacles, and I've got to the top of my case only for they deny me appeals, and there's no lawyers here in Boston that will take this case. They advertise. Check it out on your phone if you don't believe me. Ask for a civil rights lawyer. And then when you get the listing of them, each one you call say, oh, we don't do cases like that. Is this a business or is it a home? See, Massachusetts has protection for companies that elderly people like me cannot file abuse charge against a company. We can't file racial discrimination or abuse. I don't know why Massachusetts has that law there, or that hinders from going to the national grid for discrimination. They told me for some reason Massachusetts got a block from us coming in. And the thing is, if it's someone living in your home that abused you, yes, significant other, relative, or whatever. Or if you live in a nursing home or someplace like that and you've been abused, then you have that protection. But for landlords and management companies, they're protected. I want to tear down this wall because this has got to stop. This can't be permitted. And I've been on here inviting the governor and the mayor. Personally, I go on the phone and I tell them to follow me on this because I'm talking about you and share my story with you. You won't come and reach out to me now. Why these officers won't call me back or set up a meeting with me? I've been down to the mayor's office a couple of times. Oh, well, it's still under police investigation. And as long as it's underneath that, she can't say anything. It's been block after blockage after blockage after blockage. And I keep telling them, I'm not going anywhere. I got nothing else to lose. But I told my son when I did that video with me with the afro, I said, somebody's got to tell the story. These policemen that day tried to get me to go with them when I refused. I said, look, me and my doctor has an understanding that if I need anything, that to call her on her personal number, leave a message back to me. And if it's for medication, she will call the pharmacist and order it. And these people argued with me for over 51 minutes in my apartment saying that I have to go to the hospital. No doctor is going to call up a prescription for sleeping pills and give them to you. And I said, yes. And then Bess was here. 5 EMS people were here. And several Boston police were here from downstairs to out in my hallway, and 2 of them inside my apartment. for 51 minutes. I asked them, are y'all recording this? Oh, yes, yes. And I told them about how they've been filing false police reports, and I want to make sure that this gets put on camera. Okay. What they said in this video that they won't let me see, but it's on the police report. They said I was pacing in my apartment, telling them I'm going to overdose on heroin. Never touched the shit. And I'm going to take all my, take overdose on pills, and then I'm going to kill myself. Let that soak in for a minute. That's another false police report. And I went through the legislative thing that Mayor Walsh signed into effect, called OPAC, and it's about police accountability. He knew there was a problem with police in this state falsifying or giving you a hard time when you want to file charges on something that they've done. So the excuse that I can't get a copy of this video is that it's going to show you that it does not match up with the police report, the accusation that they said I was doing during the police report. There's no pills on my table. There's no alcohol present. There's no drug paraphernalia present. This is how they attack Black women. This is why when you get angry over something like this, I didn't gift it to them because I didn't want to give them any more ammunition to use against me, because that's what they want to say. Oh, she was, baby. You're not going to pull that one with me. I stressed that be recording and to me that they were going to tell the truth. Now you see why Monica Grant, what they did after her, that's why I felt connected to her story, and I had to come out and tell mine. So even the governor asked, because I got a call saying that they asked MCAD to give me my appeal. They still haven't done it, and I called them back and questioned them on that too, because if they give me appeal, they excluded all of my witnesses, and even the girl that recorded the audio, so that they could close this case saying that they found no finding. And they told me, well, we don't have to interview your witnesses. Then how are you going to make a decision on a racist company and just take their side? See how corrupt Massachusetts government is? Now, the governor, Maurice Haley, whatever her first name is, was in charge of the Attorney General's office. 5 applications I applied for my civil rights violations. My son did one of them online. No one in that office ever contacted me to follow up with a report. And the Boston Globe, the Herald, even this radio station in my area, WBUR, I shared my story with them and said, oh, well, we'll look into your Facebook page, and if there's anything there, we'll get it out. There's no media coverage of this in Boston. So when I say I'm a prisoner in my own home, I'm a sitting duck. That's why I shared this out here. So something does happen, people know my story. So I don't want this to happen to anybody else. And I want to stop this kind of abuse on Blacks. Like on that audio said, they're worse on the Blacks than they are the Hispanics. If you like this, just share me a like, and please share your comments on this, and so I could read them. And if you got any suggestions and any other direction that I need to take this, um, please share it. And another thing before I get off, I want to say to you, I got to find it again, but we got to help Africa. I'm not talking about financial support, but I'm talking any means possible, because China is invading Africa, building railways and towns, and so is Russia. And they're all around the Congo, the center part of Africa. They're after that lithium to make these batteries. So they're still pulling out gold, but the resources. And this story that I heard, I like to repost stuff and like to share it so I could go back again and talk about it. Um, they're saying Africa needs to reunite Nigeria with Ghana, Ghana with Kenya, and all that, and run these people out and put a stop to them. They said because Africa is divided, they're fighting their own little wars within their own little what do we call them? We call them states here. I don't know what their label is, but in reference, I'm gonna say state. And they're not together. They could use some wisdom here from people to help them secure their resources from these poachers coming in. Now they're saying, don't know yet because it hasn't happened, that Donald Trump is aware of Russia going in there, China going there, and the Arabs are going in there. And they're throwing these people off of their land to mine this stuff. And the women can't even gather firewood because if they leave the area of the tents that they've been lowered to living, or either just out in the of their own country now, so they could get to this material so that you can have an electric vehicle. So you could have anything that's made with lithium batteries. And they said that Trump now recognizing that he is not within that, because he's watching with India too, all of them are in there building up their economy for their countries at the expense of Africans. They're mining and terrorizing these people that are there. Isn't it sound like history repeating itself? But on a different scale. Before it was the Israelites. Now it's the natural resources. See, whatever they're going to take out of Africa, they're taking it. Whether it's human, livestock, what they referred us to, or our material. And they are generating wealth and not giving it to the Africans. Africans need to band together. That continent is so huge. All of them, I didn't mean to yell, but all of them could fit into Africa. Imagining how big Africa is and how the United Kingdom and all of these other places going in there mining against Africa. And they're scaring them. And they saying President Trump now is watching these other countries, and he is going to forcibly try to take over things in Africa. So that's what my broadcasts are about. Finding out who we are as humans, where where our descendants are from, the people we are, the present. That's why the boycott is so important. We need to start storing up for our own safety and our own families. And also, um, I like to do the research and look on things so I could put them on here so I could save you all some time and energy because I want it to be right there. So that's why I also put down on my page warnings of things to come. That's a warning of things to come, what I just said about Africa. Now, here's another warning. Sometimes my phone, I'd be looking at this stuff and I accidentally lose the page, but this one is an uproar, and the presidency hasn't even changed seats yet. One state here in America where white supremacists are now marching with black on the flag and um, the German swastika, and they're yelling the N word. So they've already started. And then I'm also hearing about towns still here in America where they got the after dark lockdown of black people in this country today. You can't go out your house at night. Start sharing. Knowledge and wisdom is everything. There's always a possibility. That's why I like to stay open-minded. But awareness. I don't want to be in a position where shit start falling on me and I'm like, what's going on? Haven't you listened to the news? Haven't you followed anything? So if you got time, like I said, when I went to college, I had stayed in current affair because they said read the newspaper every morning. Now, one thing I learned too when I was going, they didn't read the local newspaper. They were more into you reading the USA paper. And I said, damn, I don't even write looking at local news. What is going on in the country? Well, YouTube, TikTok, everything is out there now. All you got to do is find the category and follow things and be aware, just like the little second grader that was hung by a fourth grader. We need to know these things. We need to warn our children about these things. And as parents and relatives, we need to be on guard for our children. When they can't protect themselves, we have to be there. So current affair is very important. You need to know what's going on. Media, and I said it before, I just now reposting a lot of videos that were just sitting in my thing and I didn't know to transfer them over. Because like I said, I'm new at this. I just started in August. So I'm learning. I'm staying on here, trying to gather up as much information as I can to share. And I share on my TikTok a lot of reposts. That way, the general stuff right there so that you can go in and look at it and find out information for yourself. Also, finding out that Yeshua was black and we're the descendants of Abraham is something that your kids need to see and know if you haven't already shared it with them, because they have destroyed our identity. They've taken Yeshua's face and they've made him white. And they said that blacks have not contributed nothing to this country, but we built this country. These are the lies that need to be told to our people and the people that support of the wrongs that the West has caused. All other countries know that Yeshua is. including China, including Japan, because they are finding black, uh, that archaeological, whatever you call them, they're digging into, like Russia did, into places there that showed black people teaching them martial arts. We have helped the world, y'all. And we're the most convicted people out of any nationality in the world. That's why we need to strengthen our support too with Africa. Like they said, Africa could be untouchable right now if they would pull themselves together and act together to get these freeloaders off of there and these people that are robbing them and take control. And if they want to sell it to them, put a price on it. Africa needs our help, and it needs to, I'm addressing this to Africa, y'all need to unify yourselves. If you like this, share your like, and please give me your comments, because I'm going to really pay attention to what's being said, because the more information I get, the better prepared I am to get on here and share it with you. So I'm going to be your quick stop, your quick refresh. And I thank you for allowing me to come into your home and or wherever your space and share this insight with you. God bless you. Look out for your children. And try to stay home as much as possible, because I'm afraid for, I don't have any fear of man. I'm afraid of what they would do to people like us, and the grief that it's going to cause in our families. We don't go after them. They're coming to us. So who's the savage? Who's the one that's, never mind, no comment. Love y'all. God be with you. Solidarity. And we got to look out for one another, because we're going to be our own protection in this falling country. Because America, everybody's turning against America for what they're doing to us. That's another thing. They're mad at America for keeping oppressing us, knowing who we are. Why won't the news medias show what Russia and all of these other countries are showing about Yeshua's color and the findings? I don't ever see it on American news, have you? But things to think about. See you for now. Love you. And find those happy places. Remember what I told y'all about happy places? Find you a happy place, because you're going to need some good memories to fall back on, just to get you out of this stress that you're under. It just puts you on a quieting, calm, stressless moment for the moment, to be able to look back at something foolish you've done, or something foolish somebody, friends or family have done, and just laugh about it. It puts you in a different mindset, and find your happy place. Get into the habit of it. Love y'all, and goodbye for now.